may get a lot of flack for saying this, but I hate working with big banks. If you're a prospective home buyer, this is just another reminder to make sure you work with the right lenders and loan officers for your mortgage. I recently sold a townhome in Morton Grove. My seller client accepted an offer right away and we went under contract. The buyers were working with a lender from a large bank that anybody would know if I were to say the name. The agent wanted to close in 1 month, which I thought would be too fast. But after speaking to the lender, they were confident they can get it closed. And so we decided to go with a 1 month closing. The sellers were actually putting about 74% down. And so the loan amount, loan to value was around 26%. Initially, the lender told me that we wouldn't need an appraisal because they were putting such a large down payment that they had no doubts that the property would appraise. I thought that everything was moving pretty smoothly. However, 5 days before closing, all of a sudden, the lender said that they required an appraisal. And I found this out not because the lender told me, but because the appraiser texted me and said that they needed to get in to the property to do an appraisal right away. Ordered this as a super rush. I dropped everything. I met him at the property a few hours later. He did the appraisal and then told me that the appraisal would be in by Monday. I was incredibly frustrated. The lender reassured me that that was the last thing that they needed. So Monday, March 23rd, 2 days before closing, rolls around and I don't hear anything from the lender. The next day on March 24th, I emailed the lender and asked about the status of the appraisal. The lender said that the appraisal hadn't been in. I emailed again on March 26th. They replied that it would be in by March 30th. So basically closing was extended for 5 days. However, I was hoping that the appraisal came back in earlier because again, they put a super rush on it. I emailed again on March 27th, but they said the appraisal wasn't in. And so I had to wait until March 30th. However, they had still not gotten the appraisal yet. Since I had the appraiser's number, I texted him and asked him why he hadn't submitted the appraisal. And they responded saying that he actually did turn in the appraisal the week prior. So I emailed the lender back and told her that I spoke to the appraiser, said that the appraisal had been submitted. I sent her the text message thread of me and the appraiser. And then miraculously, all of a sudden, the appraisal turned up. I get a call from the lender saying that there's a discrepancy in the appraisal, that it says record of public owner and has the wrong name and this and that. And so that they were trying to reach out to the appraiser, but the appraiser's not responding. So then I text the appraiser and the appraiser responds with this. This was April 1st, where the appraiser said that it was resolved. On April 2nd, the lender finally says that we're ready to close. And luckily on April 3rd, we were able to close. So originally we were supposed to close on March 25th, but basically the closing was delayed for another 2 weeks. I was thinking though, if I hadn't been persistently contacting the appraiser, the lender, following up, trying to figure out what's going on, trying to be the middleman, how much longer would this closing have been delayed? I know for sure that with my go-to lenders, this would never happen. I have lenders who could close within 10 to 14 days. If they say that they don't need an appraisal, then they don't need an appraisal. There's no changing of minds or anything like that. Work with a lender who knows what they're doing, will actually pull through with what they say, who is reputable, reliable, somebody who can close when they say they can close.